Hello, friends. So we're going to do some lettering today. I wanted to show you my little Christmas tree. Here's Corey, little tiny Corey, in his little French Cajun Christmas card. And then here are this is my daddy and his little brothers. He was one of 5 boys. So I like to pin these on here so it makes me remember my family, especially this year. This is from, let's see, look, that's a 3-cent stamp from my grandma. So here we are in my house, dirty house. Look, we got shoes everywhere, stockings over there. I picked up a little bit. Here's my studio. And today we're going to do Isaiah 9:6. And for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. The government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And I love this earlier in this chapter. It says, the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death. That sounds a little familiar right now. A light has dawned. A light has dawned. And I feel like right now, God is calling us to be a light like never before. And I was reminded earlier about when we went to Israel a couple years ago. We were shown how they made olive oil, and they would take the olives and they would put them in this round, this giant round, it's bigger than my hands, but probably like a yard wide stone would roll over the olives and crush them. And then they would take the olive paste and put them under like a huge weight and like push it down, and then out would come the olive oil. And I feel like right now it's that time that we are those in the land of the shadow of death, verse 2. A light has dawned. And so then they'd take that olive oil and they'd put it on a lampstand and they would light the lamp. And I think right now this is such a time of darkness and sadness. And I feel like this is our time to be a light. And so, therefore, I want us to paint today. Something fun for Christmas, but something to be able to give, to be able to look up, to be reminded of who God is, but then also to look out, who can we give this to? Who could we be encouraged to be a light? Who can we be a light to? And so what I've done so far is I went ahead and did 4 random circles. So today you're going to need watercolor paints, and you can get some at Michael's. There's a $5 set that's really good. You're going to need some brushes. I have like a little tiny brush. I have a little bigger brush. And then this is what I used, my biggest brush. This is what I used to do my circles. And I went ahead and did those so that they could be drying. And I could do this for you just on one setting. But those are the things that you will need. You could also use watercolor pencils, which are really great. You can also get those at Michael's, which just work almost like just a regular colored pencil. You can get them at Hobby Lobby or Amazon. And so you would go ahead and draw out what you want drawn. It's great for lettering, but you can letter and then you go over it again with a teeny tiny brush and just water, and it turns it into watercolor. So that's super, super easy in a way to incorporate that. These are a couple of the things we're going to be doing this week. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus. So, and a little manger. So I did a little practicing last week with a little couple ladies. They came over and we practiced. So today I have my 4 random circles, and you can kind of put them randomly. What they're going to be ornaments. So I'm going to do it this way. So, like how I just decided that right there. I don't know what I'm doing. My children are at school, and I'm so thankful for the teachers who are working 90 to nothing to make sure that children are taught and kept safe. They are absolutely amazing, and every one of them needs a cash prize and a vacation somewhere in the Bahamas. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing a little random stick up here that's going to be sort of coming off of a tree. So I'm going to make it thicker at this side and then bring it thinner this side, because that's how sticks work. They get thinner as they go. So with your stick, if you're a perfectionist, take a deep breath, because it cannot be perfect, because nothing organically in nature is perfect. So even right here, I've like missed a line. That's okay. That's okay. So I'm going to do little sticks coming off of there, some coming over here. And then I'm going to come and let's see here. I've got my Christmas music playing, and I've got a nice cup of tea right here, which I love. I wish you were here. I would give you some. So right here, I'm going to make this sort of a pine tree. So how I'm doing that is just short little strokes. Short little strokes. And we're going to come all the way around these little branches. I actually just got back from the post office mailing a bunch of packages to grandparents that we are sadly not going to be able to be with this year. We had to send them all of our love. So I tell you what, that post office was buzzing. Bless those workers. So again, short little strokes, and I'm going to even bring some down here. And we also don't want them all going exactly in the same direction. We need to kind of make them a little different here and there. If you have any suggestions, I have kind of the verses I'm wanting to do. But if you have a suggestion or something that you're really like, I'd like to see this painted, I'd love to honor that. Please feel free to message me. Feel free to share this with somebody, some little budding artist. So I know that over the holidays, but probably not everything is going to be open. So if you want to have something to do with a little one, this is definitely something that could be done, especially with somebody about, I think, 8 to 80 is usually the age range. Okay, so this is my little tree that I'm keeping on with my... Okay, now with my little ornaments, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to outline them. I'm going to use a green ribbon. So a green color, a lighter green color. I'm going to come down and pretend that they're hanging from this branch. And I'm going to do a little bit around the branch to pretend that they're like hooked onto that branch. So this is just a little different color to add a little depth to what we're doing. Coming straight down. I love that this verse in Isaiah was written by the prophet Isaiah about even more than 700 years before Jesus came. He already knew because God told him that Jesus was coming. So right now I'm just painting as I'm talking. We're going to do a little bow on the tops of each of these ornaments and leave a little space because we're going to make a little indentation kind of where the normal ornament hook should go. So I'm going to do another little bow, and I'll come back over these in a little bit and do some shading. You can't have Christmas without Mariah Carey. I don't know if you can hear her in the background. So Isaiah 9:6, and we all know this verse from Christmas, but I'm going to flip over to Isaiah 53, see if I can do that with one hand. One of my favorite verses, also written 700 years before Jesus came, and it says, "But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed." By his wounds we are healed. That's something we can be praying. Okay, so I'm going to take some black with my tiny little brush. This would also be a good place if you're feeling a little unsure about your like lettering. You may want to use even a Sharpie, could come in handy right here. So I'm going to do like a little bitty box right here, kind of like a little bitty rectangle. And if you'll notice right here, my ornament is not quite dry. So I'm going to try not to touch it to the red so it doesn't bleed over there. So now I'm going to go all the way around this ornament. And so I like to do it where every now and then I skip a little bit so it's not totally perfect. And it helps my hand if my hand is shaking. And as you can see, my ornaments are not perfectly round. If you are totally a perfectionist, you could use a cup and like trace the bottom of the cup if you wanted to. I would love to hear if you have any exciting Christmas plans. I know they'll probably look different this year, but maybe you've thought of something creative that I have not thought of. I feel like my creative juices are running low as far as, but I want to be able to encourage people even when my creative juices are running low. Okay, wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write those words in here. And you know what? Let's see here. I wish I had a Sharpie actually right at this very moment, but I'll just use this tiny brush and I might switch over to a Sharpie later on. So wonderful counselor is going to go in here and it's going to be a little bit, let's see if we can zoom in. Wonderful. So what I'm doing right now is just my cursive. Now we have the Beach Boys going. So now I'm going to thicken my downstroke. This is called Faux Ligraphy. It makes it look like we're doing calligraphy, like our pen never left the page. And I'm just tracing over it. Okay. And as you can see right here, I left a little bit of white. If you could leave a little bit of white, I did it right here as well. It just makes it look like the sun's hitting it. And that's how you do it with watercolor, is leaving the white there. So you don't have to get every little piece of that. Wonderful counselor. So I'm going to follow these lines. So I followed this line with my word wonderful. And now counselor, I'm going to, I need to make sure I can fit it on here, don't I? C-O-U. Don't let me misspell it, please. Ooh, I'm running out of room, aren't I? Don't tell. Probably should have made that a little smaller, but there we go. Wonderful counselor. And if I could go back and redo this, if I had my iPad out and like redo this, I would try to make this a little skinnier and try to make these letters go all the way up to the top. But that looks fine. I might put a little star in there to fill where I messed up. Okay, up here we're going to do the words mighty God. So I'm going to start on this one. Oh, sorry, I need to show it to you, don't I? So I'm going to pretend there's a line halfway down through the center, like the diameter of this. Look at me using, what is it? I was about to say geography. Nope, geometry. Geometry words. Sorry for all the teachers. That's why me homeschooling my kids did not go great. I'm like, y'all want to do art again? Let's do art and bake some cookies. We did not do great spelling or reading. Thank you, teachers, so much. Mighty. Okay, and then now I'm going to fill this space with the word God. Mighty God. Because I have a little extra room, we're going to kind of decorate this word a little bit more. So what I'm doing is I'm doing my letters, block lettering, but I'm also going to, on the downstroke, I'm adding a little extra line, and I'm going to do a little ladder in some of those letters, just to give it a little bit of dimension. Mighty God. Now let's come to this one. Let's see. Oh, I love this one. Everlasting Father. Okay. Now I'm going to do kind of this same thing I did with Wonderful Counselor, but I'm going to use a block lettering. Ever. Not my prettiest R. Everlasting. And I'm following that line, this curved line. Right here, everlasting Father. And so Father, I'm going to try to fill this whole space up, but I'm going to use my cursive. Here we go. I just love that he is the Father. He is our daddy. And I hope you had a good daddy on earth to show you that example. I know I did, but I know that's not true for everybody. Everlasting Father, he's going to take care of us. He will never leave us or forsake us. So right now I'm thickening my downstroke again. Okay, Everlasting Father. And then this one, I don't know if you can see, it is wet right up here and here. So I'm going to, just for time's sake, I am going to try to keep it in the middle just so it doesn't bleed on those areas. So I'm going to write, I'm actually following a different line for this one, Prince. I'm going to do a line of peace. I would probably normally fill up the whole ornament, but today, because of time, I'm just going to do this. Prince of Peace. Okay, let's see here. Now, I'm going to come back. We're going to add a little bit more green to our scene, kind of, sort of like pretending there's a tree behind the whole thing. So, and just to add some color. So I'm going to do a color wash, which just means I'm going to bring in my big brush, lots of water. I'm going to kind of come in here even come behind the tree. So you can still see those brush strokes of the leaves I did earlier. So let's see. This is just going to make it more fun. You could, in theory, if you wanted to, fold your paper in half and do this on half of it and make it a card. But this one I've done is going to be an 8x10. So again, could be mailed to somebody, could be left on someone's porch. If you get really crazy, you could even, take a picture with your iPhone or a phone and make, edit the picture to where you can't see the edges of where you took the picture and, send it to a printer and make cards. So you could make your own Christmas card this year, or maybe just a card to encourage people. We need lots of verses about hope this year. Okay, so I'm coming back in here, but as you can see, I'm not going to touch I'm going to try not to touch my ornaments and my ribbons. Leave a little bit of space. I think it adds a little bit of character like that. So really right here is where I'll cut it off for it to be an 8x10. And so at the bottom, it's still wet, but I'm going to sign. I'm going to sign right here with a pencil. Probably would be better if it's dry. But I hope you enjoyed today, and tomorrow we will be painting a verse from Job 19:25. I know my Redeemer lives, and in the end he will stand upon the earth. Have a great day.